Okay, grab yourself some popcorn, grab yourself a beer. We're going to be here a while as we have got a banger of a match. That's right, folks. Magic versus GUA. Two players that have a lot of competitive experience in multiple Age of Empires. Just not the normie ones, not the big ones, right? Not Age of Empires 2, but now coming to Age of Empires 4. And this is an ultra late game from what I've been told. Over an hour and a half long. I'm excited to see how this one's going to play out, especially on Confluence. So many choke points. Ways to utilize the water as well with Enable Force. I mean, I'm hoping we got a banger here. It's going to be fun to see how both these factions actually work in the late game, because it is going to be Abbasid Dynasty up against France, with, of course, France being manned by GUA, as well as Abbasid Dynasty being manned by Magic. Magic, we saw him face off on the channel very recently. Very skilled player, actually. I'm quite impressed by his openings and the way he flexes. That's why I was very excited. When I saw this one, when I saw it was a long game, and I saw it was these two players, I was like, this is going to be, like, even if you didn't show me the timing on the game, this is going to be an epic match. Because I feel like the playstyles of these two players match up in a very kind of Clash of the Titans type way, right? Where you can actually see this teeter-totter, this seesaw, this back and forth. Like, I mean, if you need comparisons, just look at this. Instantly, more or less, the exact same timing, going for the docks, mirroring each other. Maybe this is just a small detail of what's to come. Because I do feel like these two will play very similar mid-early games. And I guess the thing to highlight then is if they do play very similar mid-early games, who's going to have the edge, right? Well, it's going to come down to who pivots more. And I've seen both these guys pivot fantastically, almost instantly when they see their opponents doing something. So Magic already going for the barracks super early as the Abbasid Dynasty. This should just be to get some spears down to protect these choke points so he can kind of tech up. Because when you're up against France, you have to be concerned about the early harassment. Remember, they can go for the knights. They can get pretty aggressive up in your face as soon as they hit feudal age timing. A nice move by GUA as well, by the way. He doesn't want to have to come out here to address this layer, so he's slapping down some palisades now to deter any sort of early aggression by a few units to try and burn down his only dock. Not something we see that often. Also, keep in mind, by the way, both of these understanding the value of sticking this dock fairly central, as then you can shift it across the fish locations. There's most of the fish locations tend to be prioritized towards the center. The thing they don't necessarily know, because they haven't scouted out the whole generation, is as we can see, one of these rivers has barely any fish. The other one has them all up and down. So might be that they end up expanding along the coast to try and get those quicker drop-off times. Because remember, Russ being the only faction that don't have to have their fishing boats return to base. Interesting. So Magic already going into stone. So look at that double TC boom. We'd see it time and time again at Abbasid Dynasty. It's one of the favorite kind of openers. I feel like most of these high-level players always go for the second TC as quickly as possible. And remember, in terms of like how you want to number this, you probably... So you're going to actually want to have more people in gold as Abbasid Dynasty, because remember, you can't speed up your landmark construction. It's done inside your House of Wisdom, right? So there's a fixed time on that. So you don't want to have more people in stone than gold because I'll be able to like flip them all over and have enough stone to build a TC straight away. You kind of want to keep it balanced so you can get the tech up in time, and then if need be, switch everyone over to stone to gather in prep for that tech up into feudal age. Meanwhile, on the front side, GUA almost having the resources he needs now, so that's enough gold being dropped off. He shouldn't invest more people here. Going to bring in a fifth, which is kind of okay to just keep up knight production if you want to get up to 5 knight mass as quickly as possible. I think the numbers usually support for that. And I think that's mainly the reason, right? Like if you think gather rate, roughly around 1 a second, it takes about 30 seconds to produce a knight, and they cost about 100 gold. You can see that this, like the maths does support doing this sort of number to give you like a little bit of surplus gold for maybe some research, but also keep spamming out knights in the early game. How we look on the fishing count. So yeah, Magic slightly ahead. GUA, I think, did he mismanage his economy? It looks like he may have. Because he hasn't actually, like, oh, did he just, no, he just stopped. Okay, so he just stopped at 3. Because he could build more right now. And yeah, it looks like Magic did stop at 4. So it's not that they couldn't build more, it's that they have differing opinions on what the critical mass of like fishing ships are that are worth going for, right? Because you don't really know when it comes to Confluence. I've seen maps spawn on this where there's like four fishing points across this center mass and a bunch of them hidden behind like the bridges you can't pass. Vice versa, I've seen people kind of place docks on one side of a long bridge that's tight on the center and then get next to no value. So confluence is a bit of a flip of the coin, really, unless you've scouted out all the fishing points. And also, by the way, I hope they fix this. Spotting these fishing points, I don't know if anyone else feels the same way. Outside the birds, it's almost impossible to see them. And not only see them, but half the time clicking them is just a pain in the ass. So I really hope they fix that. I feel like they should be more defined, more easily clickable, more easily findable. Because quite often I'll be scrolling along, especially in this situation. Check this, right? When we're like this, they're not even moving, right? So when I'm quickly glancing by and I've got fog of war to contend with, the birds aren't even moving. I might not spot this at the quick beat of an eye, right? Like here, if I'm drifting past, I might not see these two seagulls, especially against the white kind of background spray on the water. So yeah, I really do hope they tweak that. So many quality of life changes that will just benefit this game so much. Because feedback is important, folks. Not just from the community, but I'm talking about like feedback from your game, right? Like how you can see things, how you can feel things. When something happens to you or something doesn't happen, you want to know why, you want to understand why. It's also why I'd love to see something change around the warnings of being attacked. It feels really frustrating when you're being attacked on two fronts. It's very easy to not see things due to the sizing of different icons on the minimap. Early Hulk out from GiveUA. To be expected, already he's just sinking these fishing ships, and they're not garrisoning. Oh no! Wait, no, it wasn't damaged. It was just a misplay. Odd misplay from Magic means he's going to lose the fleet. He didn't garrison them. What happened here? At first, I thought it was because the dock was damaged. He just clicked them in and failed, but that wasn't the case. No, he just didn't garrison them at all. That being said, it wouldn't have made much difference, right? Because it's a Hulk. So what are you really going to do in the early game against Hulk? I think Magic just has to nod his head, be happy with the amount of food he got out of the water, and now accept this is France's land, or sea rather. And yeah, more expansions coming out. So GiveUA just sticking down a second dock, try and get that efficiency. And the other cool thing about the Hulks in this situation is you can use them to guard these choke points very effectively, right? So you can essentially starve and trap in. And that is why I love this move out of Magic. This is what I was talking about, the way they read each other really well. So he understands the matchup. He understands what he's going to be up against. He understands the potential pressure GA can bring in. So what does Magic do? He doesn't stay on that island. He expands across the river to a secondary island. So even if the Hulks look to choke him out, he will not be prevented from his expansion to a second island. He's already there with his TC boom. So second TC up. Meanwhile, back in the base of GiveUA, GiveUA, of course, has not invested in a second TC because right now his resources are being invested into the night spam, which right now, how many is he up to? So he's got one over here that tried to cycle in, got harassed for it from the outpost pretty heavily. I think he's only on one right now. So a little bit behind in that regard. I think that's mainly because of the Hulk. Remember, Hulks are quite pricey, so a lot of his gold, initial gold, remember, it would have cost him 240 of it. So that's where that went. And he went for a second Hulk as well. So that wholly explains why there isn't already, you know, free up to 4 nights at this stage. Is because the Hulks were the investment instead, which will shut out his opponent from getting eco off the water. But as we said, already in the second TC, you don't care as much as the opposite Dynasty player. Before it mattered a lot more. It would be a shame if you start losing all your workers to this wolf, though. Let's maybe not have that happen. Is he going to notice in time? Now, before he had an excuse, and he just had another excuse because he's being attacked elsewhere. He's going to lose a villager. Oh my god, he gets it! Okay, so he kills the wolf in the end. He only loses one. I've seen worse, man. I've seen people lose multiple villagers to this. The problem comes to what we talk about the feedback, right? Where he's getting pings about being attacked on the wall. He's pinged about his dock, right? And he's managing 100 different things in his base right now. He could probably gloss over this and totally forget that this has happened because he recently already produced more villagers. So for a lot of people, when there's other stuff happening on the map, the only time you're going to notice you're being attacked by a wolf consistently is when you come back to your TC to build more villages and go, wait a second, why did my villager just die? But at least he gets it before he loses 2. Shame he lost that one. Cost him 50 food against Gaia. This knight shouldn't really get any harassment, so I expect a pivot now at GiveUA. Maybe just kind of try and build some fortifications to definitely block your opponent in. Go for a second TC yourself. Because right now you have to feel comfortable that you've got your opponent somewhat pinned in. The problem is because he keeps prioritizing this side and hasn't scouted the left side recently, he doesn't even know about this expansion. Look, he got this Hulk in place, anticipating that Magic would go for the expansion. But Magic, using his big swollen brain that's so big that it's starting to crack the skull and envelop into some weird bulbous-shaped head, goes, I'm going to go across early. I'm going to build even quicker. I'm going to be out there with a TC before he can even get ready to shut me in on this island. Well played. Third TC as well. Abbasid Dynasty, man. Every time. They're so good at this. I feel like Abbasid Dynasty is genuinely the best faction at doing this TC booming. It's really impressive. I don't know if it's something to do with the way they just naturally go for static defense. Maybe it's like the reason they seem the best at it is because when do you ever do early aggression instead as Abbasid Dynasty? I feel like the only time that I have seen in a high-level game an Abbasid Dynasty player do early aggression was against another Abbasid Dynasty player, right? So if you think someone's got a superior eco boom, maybe you do. But otherwise, when you're up against these Russian factions, you just go for static defenses, right? You lay these outposts there. Look how many he's got. 4 outposts in this area. Other faction, like a French player here would maybe have 2, if that. Actually, who am I kidding? A French player would have no outposts. He's not a friend. But like even a Mongol player, right, probably has 1 at his gold vein, 1 covering his berry bushes, and that's it. If I say that, you wouldn't be on berry bushes. You'd be hoarding the sheep to their death. Yeah, finally a military unit. Took this long, though. Magic only just started producing a few spears. So his goal here is to try and push his opponent off of this island and build up some walls. The problem he has is these hulks, and he has no solution to them until Tech 3. That's why I just want to see Magic focus primarily on economy. And that's why I think, from GiveUA's perspective, he needs to do the same. Because I think if you try and go in for this military harassment early with this many outposts, it just doesn't work. That being said, almost gets a villager for free there. We'll back away. Sure, it takes a long time to heal up. What we didn't mention is he is teching up right now. So Guildhall being built by Magic. Meanwhile, back in the base by GiveUA, rather. Meanwhile, back in the base for Magic. Magic is only just starting now. So this Culture Wing is going to be very delayed. 2 minutes to build. 10 seconds till the Guildhall is complete. So that's over a minute and a half that GiveUA has to kind of exploit his tech advantage and start building into potentially siege weapons. I would love to see some sort of forward base starting to be constructed up. I think the move that would be really cool out of GiveUA right now is if he started to grab stone and then tried to build a forward keep and then build a base around that keep. The problem he has now is because he's nowhere in position to do such a thing, Magic is already starting to spam out the military infrastructure, right? He's getting it all laid down. Multiple barracks over here. Meanwhile, outposts on the left side to scout out any problems. And this info will only be available to Magic because remember, he's posting all these in the middle of Stealth Forest, so GiveUA will not know what's happening over here still. And that's the big difference, by the way. Like, look, he finally ran an archer through. It took this long, but he doesn't see anything. Oh, my God. So, yeah, so he scouts out a gold vein here. Is he going to see it? Okay, he's looking for it now. No! No way! No way! You cannot be telling me he got that close to scouting out the expansion and then just whiffed it. I mean, I get why you would, right? You were sitting here like, okay, there's gold vein here, there's gold vein here. We'll guard this area. I only moved this guy up because the Hulk moved away to make sure he didn't get in the water. But now look at this. The Knights move through, and now he sees the outpost. So is he going to look again? Or is he just going to go, oh, this is just to keep me out of the left side? Is he going to spot this expansion? Come on, there's no way that Magic hides this for much longer. There's just no way. If Magic manages to keep this TC hidden for another 3 minutes, I will be impressed. Oh, the movement in. The snitch. He snitched. He knows. All right, so GiveUA gets the information he needs. And he moves the Knight straight across to harass this eco line. This eco expansion, by the way, no extra protection. It's full. So if he charges in, he'll be able to cycle a few of these villies. And there it is, straight in. Sniping them out. One goes down. Tech up does get completed by Magic now, so he's on the same wavelength as GiveUA. But so many villies should die here. They'll eventually get rid of the Knights, but I think you lose double the amount of villagers here. Possibly more at this rate. Yeah, they even turn around. They're like, we've had enough of this. Viva la revolution! And they will bring down the nobility. Decent chunk lost there, though. I think he lost, what, I want to say 4, possibly 5 villies. So GiveUA rinses that small attack force. He has built his second TC now, but this felt so delayed in comparison to Magic. Magic, remember, up at 3 TC. So when we look at the eco, even off that little bit of harassment, 67, compare it across to GiveUA, 65. The reason this is that close, by the way, we have to remember, is you produce villages quicker as France, which is why we don't see the second TC rushed as quickly. That being said, US France would like to have a slight kind of advantage in this situation when you consider how much of the map you have access to. You should be able to exploit more eco than your opponent, but it's just not working out that way. Especially with this many spearmen now. Yeah, up to 18 for Magic, so no way to sneak a small contingent of Knights in, not to mention the Spring was being built up. That's why they were circling around something for some reason, because they've been building the Spring in the field. And now Doc going up again. So Magic want to get back on the water. Remember, now you have the means to match up against those Hulks. So you could actually force this away from your opponent. I'm just not sure what the value is in terms of eco. There's not really that much in the way of fish left here. Most of it's just been spent. But of course, the big difference, we talked about it already, it was what GiveUA was trying to achieve against Magic super early, is he wanted to choke his opponent in and give him only 1/4 of the map. But as we saw, it didn't work out that way with this quick second TC that was expanded onto by Magic. I want to say how like unorthodox this move is when I look at a lot of players, by the way. A lot of players, like, expanding with second TC as the turtling faction in the matchup far away from your base is incredibly greedy and incredibly dangerous. It is quite the Gambit's play. A lot of players will not make this move. But when it works, you just see the amazing effect, right? Just having this entire new island that you have access to. And I think GiveUA, from his perspective, he didn't expect this expansion at all. Right? From his perspective, he's like, yeah, I know that Abbasid Dynasty players like to double like TC very quick. But he'll do it on his own island, right? Like, most of the time, if you would actually break down the records, I feel like 80% of the time, 85% at least, this second TC from the Abbasid Dynasty is almost just in kissing distance of the primary TC. And look at this move in. So defensive keep being built by GiveUA, and he's doing it pretty fast. So many villagers on this. He sees the army coming in. Baron Ram's being built. And Springles are sniping out these villagers. No military force, though. Remember, he went in full. Look at this. The third TC from GiveUA on the primary island. He covered a keep on the left, but now he has to rely on this keep on the right to defend him right in his base. Now, this isn't the worst thing. Remember, when you're playing France, you do get a huge value out of these keeps economically, which is any chained buildings are going to get reduced costs if they're a stable or an archery range. But, man, this greed, once again, the way these guys match up, GiveUA going, I need to expand my eco further. I need to make sure I'm matching the Abbasid Dynasty. Followed up by Magic going, he's going to expand his eco further. I haven't seen any reinforcements coming in to attack me recently, so I'm going to go siege. This back and forth is impressive. Meanwhile, look, the Knights in again. Onto the Villi line. And they're going to get a few sniped out before they even react. Remember, he's microing his force in the enemy base. He'll finally garrison them, but loses 3. Barely any villagers left on this expansion anymore. And he spots out the other keep, so has a very kind of fine line to skirt into GiveUA's base here, but he will find it. However, he will not find the wood line. The wood line moves away just in time, as they are only dealing with spears right now coming out from the Abbasid Dynasty. Meanwhile, Knights continue to try and pressure into the base a little bit, and that's a freebie. Uh-oh. Of course, you're not going to be there microing these villagers one by one as they come out, so just more spent eco, more production halted for Magic. Meanwhile, in GiveUA's base, Magic is applying a little bit of pressure, but he's not hard committing. He just continues to spam out the spears and starting to build more battering rams. So archery range is going to go down. College of Artillery made. So GiveUA, under this pressure, instead of reacting with an army, goes for the tech boom and goes up to Imp Age. And with that, look at this move. He has to back away. Remember, he doesn't have great protection for these battering rams. He has built into Mangonel now, but it's just a Mangonel and Springwood. He doesn't have any ranged units, so these villagers can burn up your rams quickly if you're not careful. That being said, the forward archery ranges will fall quickly. And you can already see now, starting to build into the culverins just to counter out all of the artillery that Magic tries to invest in. And Magic, he can't invest that much into artillery. He has 2 new Springles coming up, but remember, he's wood capped. Like, he actually hasn't got surplus wood to build into a bulky artillery line just yet. And when we look at the income, it's not likely to be there. He's trying to fix it now, going up to 700 income per minute. But the problem he's going to have is these rural culverins will just disintegrate his siege weapons. And you're going to see it in a moment. They are slow. That is the counter, right? Like, that's the counter momentum factor. When you're doing culverins, they're a very static, very defensive type unit. But they will blast through these battering rams quickly. Village is out. Takes advantage of the fact there's no ranged units to try and deal with them. And he's burning them down quick. Needs to re-garrison them, if anything. He gets rid of the battering ram. Another battering ram built. He will garrison. Loses 1 or 2 villages. We'll lose a few who can't get inside. And the culverin. Whoa, what's the culverin doing? Oh, no. Mistakes made. Okay, instead of going for the culverin, Magic's going to back up. I think that's a mistake. He could easily just burn this down. Instead, distracted once again by the villagers, who keep just instant repairing the keep to keep it at a healthy level. And he's sniping out all of these Springolds. Culverin will get rid of 1 more Springald before it's brought down. Villagers They tried to repair. Instead, they just need a re-garrison here. There's still one battering ram up, so they need to be careful. They can get out the other side with the garrison. Remember, this is one neat trick you can do, hopping left to right as your opponent goes round. And this is another thing that works against the Abyssids with this spear spam, as they will find the ram. They get rid of practically all the springles, and although the keep is on fire, they do not have that much damage to put into it, and not much of a spearman army left. And they will do the last thing they can, which is snipe out a culverin. The repairs are not going to be good enough. They will lose more villages as well, but Magic's force looks like it has been repelled for the most. And more vet spearmen in. But keep is now healthy. They're trying to rebuild the battering rams. More culverins are being built, but Roboldican first. GUA. He doesn't want to have to deal with the Zerg anymore. He realizes it's still just quantity over quality, and the Roboldican is fantastic at dealing with that when they're slow-moving units, which the spearmen are. Meanwhile, the expansion has been able to get back online. Back up to 8 civvies over here for Magic, as GUA has to focus back on his base. And, sneaking by a few spearmen here. We'll get one of the villies, but the rest are able to get away. And this expansion by Magic, what? This is such a weird turnaround, guys. Think about the way that GUA looked like he was going to choke the map 10 minutes ago on the water, right? So would you believe 10 minutes later we would be in this situation where Magic now controls 3/4 of the map and GUA is defending his base constantly from onslaughts? I couldn't have predicted it. That being said, GUA trying to keep the keep up. We'll be able to do so. And he has got a few hand cannoneers now. They are being sniped out with the springles, but they trade reasonably well. You can already see that. He did back it up before he finished the springle, though. Doesn't matter. All in all, just a distraction. Culverin's still doing his work. Still going to town on these springles. And this is a waste by Magic at this stage. He's trying to keep the pressure on, but like, how do you reach the Culverin line? You have to have so many spearmen to get in there. And once again, just charging in. And they are just being ripped apart. Oil being tossed out on their face, the screams of death. And with this Roboldican, he can't even approach the Culverin anymore. And the Culverin instead is just going to continue to snipe out these springles one hit at a time. Remember, it gets that bonus damage, quite an insane amount of bonus damage, an extra 200. So you're hitting for over 300 damage, which is why these springles are getting one hit every time. And he retreats to the stealth forest to build up the battering rams. You're going to need a lot of battering rams to get in there, though, my friend. And he has got a new army trickling in. He has not transitioned out of Spear still. Remember, he's just still spamming man-at-arms. This seems like a misplay to some people, but I think this is 100% the right call. Reason being, your opponent is not actually building a real army, right? So where's the value of man-at-arms? At this point, you just need a cannon fodder to get in to snipe out these, these siege units and to try and siege down these keeps, right? You actually don't need any fancy quality type units like men-at-arms or lancers. It's just all about a unit that can build siege weapons to get into the base. Magic is heavily in on this strategy right now. You want GUA just continue the transition to food. He's got plenty of wood to spend, so he's going to get a lot of farms out here. Batter rams in on the dock. And they can take down this keep. This keep isn't protected, remember. Remember, the Royal Culverin's back in the primary base, so this keep that's trying to protect the left flank should get sieged fairly easily. Or GUA. One like GU ain't doing anything right now. He's just sitting here, twiddling his fingers and waiting. The magical relic that is hidden under the bridge. It seems that an old man was assaulted by a troll that has taken his treasure as his trinket, as it now just hides there. So, double Royal Culverin, double Roboldican. And this split, right? He has to react to one or the other. However, these battering rams will not get much damage done. That's just wasted wood. It's kind of a distraction so you can get rid of the other keep, and it should work. I don't see a way in which GUA protects this. And he's going to try now. Because the spearman moved away! What? Oh, it's the boiling oil, my friends. The boiling oil is just too effective. He needs to burn these battering rams more than he needs to repair right now, but it's just too late in the process. So I think he is going to still lose this keep. Meanwhile, Spiral's moving north. So he has forced GUA off the water, and this means, once again, GUA, like, we already saw that he only has a quarter of the map on his control, and it's going to be very hard to get past that situation now. That being said, Royal Culverins can snipe out ships reasonably well. Of course, you don't get the bonus damage, but, you have superior range to any type of ship on the water. And, oh, the demo ship! Oh my god, GUA, it's such a smart idea, but Magic, quick to move away. That would have sniped out almost 30 spearmen. Remember, the blast radius of these things is huge. So he does move away in time. I don't know if that was going to be intended by GiveUA, but that would have been incredible if that went off. Once again, these slow-moving culverins just trying to snipe these out slowly. The rebuild on the keep. Is it going to get spotted out? Magic is not stopping. No, he doesn't see this because remember the stealth forest, he doesn't see through it, he doesn't have a scout. So we'll see it being built now, but it's too little too late. So keep is going to be rebuilt here. And now he has enough forces he can start to split this up that he can actually have a second artillery line, right? He can actually react on both sides. Even has a keep on the back line, which is sustaining his military. Look at this. Look at all these. So remember, all these ones are getting the reduced cost. These ones were just out of range. A bit awkward, I'd say. But you can see that like these ones are getting the reduced cost. By the way, for those that play the campaign, this is kind of confusing. So remember in the campaign, it daisy chains all your buildings. It doesn't do that in multiplayer. As you can see, it just is only affecting these production buildings very close to the keep. This battering ram line. All right, we missed that. I'm pretty sure the Robotican just blasted them all to hell. I think that was like the 30 spearmen, right? No, it was smaller. Okay, smaller group. But Roboticans will shred you quickly. That's the tough part that you actually have to deal with now if you're Magic. Is like you need so many springles if you want to snipe, right? Demo ship. He actually does boom it. Okay. I wasn't sure if he's going to for 5 spearmen, but I mean his horseman would die otherwise, right? He's trying to sneak into the eco line, and look what he's found with the scout. So he's going to see the expansion on the stone. He says, no. France builds forts. France builds keeps, you do not. Get out of here. You goddamn rats. We'll have to back away due to the replenishment of spears, but... Demo ships split up all around by GiveUA. I love this maneuver. Realizing his opponent's going for the quality baglars, and if he controls choke points, he potentially gets a boom opportunity that takes out an entire army. But look at this Magic now. He says, anything you can do, I can do better. Builds his own keep on his side of the water to make sure there's no expansion to the left, and then there'll be a prioritization by both on the right. But that keep has already gone down to cover the TC expansion. Now, how many TCs we're up to? This should be the 4th, right? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 4. So 4 total. Compare that to GiveUA's very stacked high economy at the back here. This primarily just food gathering, right? Like, he's actually going to be gold capped very soon. In fact, I think he's burnt all the gold in his island, right? Yeah, so the only way he's really getting gold right now is these 2 relics. And we can see this when we look at the income. It's 300 locked in per minute for GiveUA. Little bit of a rough situation. Remember, he does have quality, though, and we've been seeing it time and time again with these culverins, these Roboticans. So really, all he needs is this kind of mass clump of horsemen, whatever, to protect his front, and then he can snipe out with these type of units. And when he sees a bombard, he should do exactly that with the culverins in a sec. Culverins rolling themselves over, and bombard will, boom, just go straight away. And that's all he has to do. So Magic really needs to build his army to full. That's what Magic needs to do. But he's already capped. He's capped right now, and 136 eco. I think he needs to burn some of this. The problem is he's going for pricey units. So actually, like when you look at his current resources, it's not that strong. He can keep building keeps. I think that's maybe his play. He's looking for the keep crawl, which is why he's staying strong at over 130 villages. I say that. I think, no fishing ships. It's all villages. Moving in from the siege. If this backfires for GiveUA, he's going to lose all of his siege weapons. So he needs to make sure he snipes them all out. And the Robotican is getting close enough. Booms them down. The villies are dying quick. Is it quick enough, though? No. They're going to complete the keep. And he needs to back up quickly here. The Roboticans are going to start falling. Second one will be burnt and spent very quick. And look at the other side. Magic comes straight in with the battering ram spam. They're trying to repair the keep, and because he moved his slow, methodical siege weapons out here, he's completely out of position to defend the left side of his base. Horsemen trying to move across to fix this, but remember, Horsemen, they've counted out by the one unit, the one infantry that Magic has been building all game, this Spearman. And he continues to invest in them, because what else are you going to build at this stage, right? So he's switching over to archeries now, but he's going to lose a decent chunk of his island before he's able to get them out. Look at the battering rams moving in. So this TC expansion is going to be brought down. He might even go deeper to spot out the second TC on the south. The Horsemen trying to move in. They see that the Spearmen aren't here right now. Battering rams have already done their business, though. Charges straight into the Spearman line, and they wrap around. He needs to get them out of here. GiveUA getting wrapped on. Going to try to move them away. He's going to lose several of these Horsemen, and the other ones are going to be left low. So he gets them out. But can't get the battering rams. The battering rams now split, going for different targets. Target now, the only way that GiveUA right now is getting gold, as well as his other TC expansion. Meanwhile, under this wood line, just trying to get as much resources as he can, because he's going to need to support an archer arm, and he knows it. Or is it going to be hand cannon? I don't think he has the goal for hand cannons. I think it just has to be, normie archers, basically. I mean, archers are a good counter elite spearmen if you have them teched up. But remember, he never built into them at all, so they haven't been upgraded at all. And he's forced to fight here. At least he's under a keep, so he should win this out in the end. And the archers, they started to build up. Are repelling these spearmen. Meanwhile, Bombard Cannon trying to siege through the buildings. He needs to actually get the culverins in position, but I think where did the culverins go? Did he lose them? No, he lost the culverins on the retreat. We saw the Roboticans fall, but it looked like the culverins might have got away with it. Okay, I think he got one of them out. Barely. He needs to snipe out the Bombard. The problem is the Bombard is moving in towards the culverin, and it's going to snipe him out instead. He'll get one hit to the Bombard and then lose the culverin. And remember, we talked about this already. He's the one that's goal capped. Especially with these relics just sitting on the ground right now. And after all that, the eco damage is big. 2 TCs down. Monasteric containing the relics have been burnt as well. Your keep on the left side is gone. GiveUA has gone from owning an entire island to owning a quarter, no, not quarter, 2 quarters. Why am I saying 2 quarters? Half to 2/3 of an island. He'll recover, but the damage is pretty noticeable. With the university now being targeted here on the back line. And he's just being distracted by the front here. Plenty of horsemen here to repel the spearman lines in the meantime. And I think this is where Magic needs to consider diversifying, right? You can't just keep going for spearmen unlimited, right? You need to add something else into the mix, whether it's man-at-arms, probably not man-at-arms here, but even a contingent of, I want to say maybe hand cannoniers? Like he could go for them himself. But he's just continuing to invest heavily into these Rax units, right? Just the spearmen alone. He could go for some Mangonels. I wouldn't mind Mangonels, but... All right, no, fair enough. This works too. 5 Bombard Cannons can be fairly effective. In the meantime, Magic's keep that he did build is being sniped down. Plenty of horsemen here to do it as well. Remember, these are quite tanky units at 300 health. And they've almost got through it. No burning oil here, so he's not losing units in mass. He doesn't even have to worry about the spearmen right now. There's not enough here to threaten the horseman mass, so he'll just focus on taking out the keep. And then, uh-oh, wait, Magic, Magic, this is too close. The keep's gonna go, but now look what happens. He'll move straight past the spearmen, straight past the villages. You expose your bombard line. He didn't hold at the bridge, so his bombards are gonna be exposed, and he'll move deeper to snipe more of them here. Horsemen in. Even if you lose them, if you get the bombards, it's worth it. One goes down, another one as well. He's trying to back them up, but it's too late. There's just too many here. The spearman will get in the way to protect 2 of these bombards, but that is a huge investment lost by Magic that never had to happen if he just held at the bridge. And now, is there a new Robotican coming out? That's the real question here. I think that's the move. You get a Robotican here if you are GiveUA, and then you just slow roll this through, right? So if you ever get choked out, if you ever get held on these choke points by the spearmen, you just wipe them quickly. That being said, the archers are doing that themselves anyway. Now to veteran status, they should be teched up again soon. Has he started researching it? No, he doesn't have the gold. He has rebuilt the monastery, but he hasn't rebanked these relics yet, which is hurting my brain and hurting my eyes. It twitches. Meanwhile, attempt to burn down the keep. He's not even targeting out the villagers first, so keep goes down, but there's enough horsemen here again to burn this to the ground with the villagers' support. The pressure is on all sides, though. Mangonel round the back, sniping the farms and the villages. How did this get here? Did the spearman just build this back? Did one spearman build this Mangonel in the back of the base the whole time? This is so painful for GiveUA, right? Like, consider it from this perspective, right? It's sniping out eco that you probably aren't going to be looking back at because you're being dragged towards the front. Your attention is always on the incoming forces from Magic across these bridges. So this small task force, right? This Delta Force member behind enemy lines is having huge value here as the Mangonel is just burning down these farms one by one alongside the villagers. Forward keep taken out. GiveUA says, Magic, get the hell out of my base. You have no place here. This is my land. This is my swamp. And more bombards. Magic, man, this is starting to look one-trick pony-ish. Not gonna lie. All right, he's got Mangonels. That makes it different. So the Mangonels, if they get rid of these archers, you can just plow them through the spearmen. You do need to be careful of the culverins, though. The culverins can sit on the other side of the water and snipe you out very easily. In fact, I think he's about to have range on a bombard. Spring taken out. Ooh, the damage to the elite archers. Another Spring down. Culverins are real slow, though. Bombards should be quicker, yeah. A decent amount quicker. 0.2 quicker. Mangonel gets sniped as well. Even the Villies are coming in. I don't think they're going to last long against the Keep Dog. And this Royal Culverin. Ooh, it needs to keep backing up. Bombard is going to lose range, and the Villy couldn't get it. 20 health on the Culverin. Now, I expect GiveUA to heal this up. Yep, Village is already moving across. Remember, these Culverins are expensive investments for him, costing 1,000 resource. Now the Bombard's coming in. Look how many horsemen GiveUA has, though. So big. The way he's pivoted his army based on his eco-locking is so impressive right now. Meanwhile, Magic, he can't even get his troops in. There's just too many Bombard cannons here. Keep is going to be blown up in the blink of an eye. And a Keep now being built by Magic. This is ambitious, though. And he needs to back off. Remember, the Culverin has the arc angle here. They don't have range for him because they're trapped on the bridge. And now the Spearman trying to slow down the Horseman. But he'll hold his ground and keep pushing here. And look how many of these are being sniped by the Demo around the back! He blows up the main contingent force of Magic. So much eco value there. The Demo ships out from Magic are not going to be a good trade here. And the Bombard army is gone. Culverin's trying to snipe out a Culverin, but that's going to be massed over and taken out as well. New Keep being built in the meantime by Magic. Spearmen hold their own. GiveUA, he's zerging in though. He's like, I don't care. I've got so much food, so much wood. I'll keep replacing them as much as need be. This is some Ura tactics right here. He'll finally back off, but he burns another of Magic's army. Magic, of course, still having plenty of gold to work through. But once again, the main strategy repelled. GiveUA just refusing to give ground, refusing to give the keys to his base. Now the question is, GiveUA, do you now invest in a cannon? Because you could start sniping out these keeps, right? And you always have a Culverin to cover the Bombard. It is pricey no matter how you look at it, but look at the gold now that he has. He can go from quantity to quality if he wants to because he did trade out a lot of these resources. This is not from mining gold. This is just from getting surplus and then trading it over, as well as having these relics just accruing you gold out of nowhere. Presumably random people come and worship at the temple and just drop off all the life earnings to the monastery. I'm pretty sure that's how the lore works. Horseman in. 20 damage on each. They're going to Molotov this down real quick. Now, this is worrying if I'm Magic. Magic right now, look at this. He's still working this economy. This economy is exposed. He hasn't refortified this base. Like, it's just these keeps and that's it, right? So if you get through this keep line, there's nothing here to protect. Magic's forward base of operations really came on the right side. Yeah? So in this way, I feel like GiveUA is going to have an advantage in the next 2-3 minutes, where he will just be able to plow in, and then you have to react to the left side. And that's what you're seeing now. Magic starting to build the Spearmen to send them over to the left side. These Horsemen again in, though. Is he going to get rid of the keep? No, he's just going deeper. I think he sees that it's kind of pointless with this many defenses. So burn the easy outpost. He'll move past this, and he's going to expose this TC. This TC doesn't matter much. He needs to find the gold mine. He knows about this gold vein as well, so it's surprising he goes straight for the TC, but he will be able to snipe it pretty quick. Remember, like we said, 20 damage from each of these, like every second, and that's that gone. These Spearmen are trickling in, so once again, the elite Horsemen are going to have the edge here. Meanwhile, back in his base, he walled it! GiveUA, he got the stone walls up. The stones on this lad. As it's mainly Spriggles now from Magic because he doesn't have the money to reinvest in that many Bombards at the second. That being said, his Spearmen will sneak around the side. The keep did get rebuilt in the meantime by GiveUA, and he does have Revolticans coming. And this small archer force should be enough to repel Magic again. Meanwhile, GiveUA moving in. He wants to do eco damage. He wants to go straight for the eco line. And there's so much exposed eco back here that he could find if he runs all the way back. And I think he's going to as well. He'll lose a few of these Horsemen, but who cares? You want some perma damage, baby. And he goes for the TC. Is he going for the land? No, he's going for the landmark snipe. He's trying to take down the landmarks in time. I just don't think this is enough Horsemen left to do this. He's trying it now, but it's a tanky one. Over 9,000 health on this TC, and repairs coming in. And the Trico Spearmen will arrive, and they should be able to just mow these guys down. Meanwhile, back in his base, Spearmen have made it a little bit deeper. Springald's trying to move forward. Archers need to start focusing down these Spearmen so the Horsemen can actually reach the Springalds. And I believe they got rid of the Royal Culverin. Yeah, the Culverins are gone. All the siege weapons for GiveUA are gone right now. Gold looking great for him, though. Magic just spending all of his eco at this stage. And once again, the Horsemen having huge impact here. Archers on the wall means the Springwalls can't snipe them out quickly. Just using walls to an advantage that we don't see too often. Remember, units on the walls take less damage. Really big deal here. Mangonels. They'll try and target out, but look how inconsequential the damage is. The full scatter didn't hit, but in a normal situation, you probably would have got these archers to half health, killed a few of them, but that's the power of the walls. So now he mans his own walls. He could try and rebuild this wall. A keep might snipe him out, so he needs to be a little bit careful. He did build into extra static defenses in the stone wall towers, but the bombards are going to snipe it out quickly, and he isn't defending it right now. Meanwhile, back in the primary base of Magic, eco lines are still being harassed. The Horsemen chased even deeper, realizing that the TC was pointless. He went straight after the villages instead, and he's causing huge disruption to Magic's lines right now. Down to 97 villages. Remember, at one point, he was up at about 130. And I don't think he hit the delete key at any stage. It's just been gradually these have been being sniped out, and not many of them have been being replaced. So some perma damage done that needs to be addressed. Meanwhile, GiveUA's economy just still sitting healthy at 116. And the reason he can afford to keep healthy like this is because he's gone for fast-moving units that he's able to run in and spend almost instantly. Meanwhile, Magic, we talked about it, right? Spearmen, siege weapons, it's all slow. It's all methodical. You're looking for that emphatic moment where you say, I've taken the battle, I've taken the victory. But that takes time to reach. And for reference, while you were trying to reach into his base all that time, GiveUA, of course, plowed past the initial keep, ran deep into your base, caused all kinds of nuisance. And he's going to continue to do it. I expect more Horsemen. I expect a lot more Horsemen coming out from GiveUA. He definitely has the economy to keep supporting it. He just doesn't have the pop cap right now. 37. Ooh, baby. So 40 more Horsemen on the ride. Could be 43 if he takes these ones as well. And more walls going up. I just love it. I love this move. It's so smart from GiveUA. He has no other use for these areas right now. It's too hotly contested. All this is a delay, right? This is like laying tank traps. I don't want the big, bulky force to just get through for free. I'm going to waste their time so I can react. And, you know, by the time they're getting through my walls, yeah, I'm going to lose my forward army. But once my forward army is lost, I'm replacing it back in my base, which gives me a defense force. It's that give and take, that teeter. And once again, GiveUA. Oh, will he? Oh, he doesn't spot it again. No, he does now. Okay, he's not going to go for it, though. It's not worth it. Now that the gold mine is gone, the gold vein's depleted, he's just going to go deeper for the farm economy instead. Bombards, once again, trapping themselves. And Spearmen running rampant through here, but the archers did back up successfully. New Culverin out, so once again, these bombards are going to get sniped. The keep is being targeted as well. He actually needs to get some repair guys on this quick. And the Culverin is being pushed back by the archers. Oh, no. All right, Culverin. Horsemen come out. These are cannon fodder to keep the back line away, to make sure that they can't reach these Culverins, because two of them are out now. And these Culverins will wreck through these siege weapons so quickly. Bombard gone. Spear will target. Don't want to auto attack right now, the Culverins. He switches them over. There's a new amount of, new Horsemen coming out right now. So he can actually wrap around and take out the siege engine. So once again, he loses his Culverins, but it baits in Magic's siege line so much that he's able to snipe them out with all the horses. As they wrap around the line, they go straight for the siege weapons again. And once again, Magic has been repelled. Meanwhile, in his main base, look what's happening. More damage done to the TC. This time, enough forces to overwhelm the defense force that had massed at this stage. And GiveUA, he's going to get so much breathing room off the back of this. Keep prepared in the meantime. Culverins will back off from Magic. And GiveUA needs to rebuild this horse army. And once again, he's got surplus eco to do so with the food, with the wood. He's going to keep chasing on out. Meanwhile, remaining horsemen in his enemy's base go even deeper, and he's going to find the farmlands. I think this is, there's a secondary food source here, but this is one of the big primaries, right? So sniping this out is a pretty big deal. You can already see it, actually. Magic, like, he's starting to expend so much. When you consider his army has mainly been spearmen, his food and wood being this low seems odd, right? Like, how is that happen? That shouldn't be happening, right? Is what you're thinking. And when you look at it, like, Magic has so many people on wood, not that many on food. Because the way he set this up, it's all about the siege weapons, right? He's like, oh, you know, the spearmen are cheap. They never run me too costly. But over time, this is starting to be felt. The impact of these raids, the way that GiveUA has decided to composition his army, like, it's all adding up as the game continues on. And look at this, the breathing room that GiveUA now gets. He's like, okay, so we've burnt practically all the wood on the main island. Time to move abroad. Right under the nose of these keeps, which he hasn't even tried to snipe out, which he can do with the size of these armies and the regularity he's putting them out. If he wants, these horsemen could now target out the keeps instead of going straight for the eco line. Meanwhile, back in his base, bombards have returned. Culverin being sniped out piece for piece. So he really needed his horsemen here. He's got a small contingent still in the base, another Culverin coming out. But remember, it's one Culverin at a time, right? Because he doesn't get access to these normally. So it's mainly because of the building. Compared to his opponent who does get access to Culverins regularly. So, keep being repaired. Needs to snipe out these bombards, but too little too late. So it does go down. GiveUA hasn't got enough stone to build another keep, but he could always buy it. And resources are starting to burn out. I mean, just look at the map. So much depleted. This stone right here is, I think, it's the last bastion of mining available in the entire map. This one stone outcropping is all that's left. And did he even pick up relic? I'm pretty sure he didn't pick up. Magic didn't pick up relics, right? So he's going to run out of gold. Meanwhile, GiveUA is going to keep trickling it due to the fact he picked up 2 for his monastery. Big difference here. Because now we're getting a late game. When you get a late game, it doesn't matter how much the map you control, really, unless you've got some sort of eco advantage you can maintain, and he's not managing to do that at this rate. When resources dry up, you know, if you didn't push that advantage you gained from all that extra resources, you can end up in these weird stalemates where the person who's been sitting on one island the entire game could just bounce back, and we might see that at this rate. GiveUA with the Archer Force and the assist of the TC, holding his opponent back. Horseman could charge in, get it back up for the moment. You don't really want to give over your primary TC like this, though. However, the Horsemen are moving out to allow the expansion to the west side. And are they going to go for the keep, or are they going to run deeper? He's actually backing them off, so he's going to bring them back to base to push right now, I think, is the idea here. Yeah, so there we go. Going to keep doing that. So move his lads back. Trebs, in the meantime, getting rid of the keep. So this is a really good move. It looks like it was more about getting initial vision so the Trebs could hit in. Double Treb will take down this keep line, which means now he can prioritize all of his horsemen over here. Here they come. So many horses. 70 horsemen charging through. I don't think... The only way these spearmen would be a counter to this is if they held a spear in each hand, but they do not. As Magic's forces are going to get wrapped on, and there is a risk of a complete overwhelm Zerg straight towards his base, and I think GiveUA is going to commit to that. Mangonels, good counter if you have enough of them, but remember, Horseman, fastest unit in the game, might be able to close the distance. He's trying to hold him with just a few spearmen. Mangonel snipes, decent damage, but still, once again, 300 health on these units. He will back off now, seeing he got rid of the main siege weapons, and then he'll look to clean up the spearmen out of range of the Mangonels. Smart move out there from GiveUA. Didn't want to sacrifice too many of his production units here. His military produced units, rather. Like, in this situation, yeah, you can afford to replace them, but that's how you lose games, is when you get really cocky and go, yo, I can afford to replace this, right? Because you have to remember, even though food is an unlimited resource for these farms, in general, the concept in your mind is that, yeah, you're going to have to replace these with wood. Eventually, everything is going to be spent. So when you get to the 40, 50-minute stage in the game, find a way to be efficient with your resources, folks. Don't waste it. Because that's the difference in this game. I don't want to be mean to Magic, but that is the whole of the difference. But it's not entirely on Magic. It's also on the fact that GiveUA has done an amazing job turtling and defending his base. But Magic, in a lot of ways, wasted his troops time and time again. And that is why he now finds himself in this very awkward, very fragile stalemate where he no longer has access to gold. And his food lines need to be recovered. He did get the walls up, so no sneaking now. Force it back. Mangonels will eventually get through these walls. It'll take a while, though. For those wondering what I think Magic could have done different to avoid just burning all his troops as regularly as he did on this bridge, I think the most obvious thing would have probably been to have gotten water control, which he did, and then use transport ships. Transport ships in these type of maps are so underutilized, it's kind of incredible to me. When you're talking culverins, bombards, things that can be sniped out by these culverins, right? If you can get right on top of them quickly, or at least closer, or at least get out of this choke point, it can be good. That being said, there was a way you could utilize this choke point well, and we saw it later on when he started to use the spearmen to hold back the clumping of horsemen. But too often he pushed past this choke point and then ended up in a situation where the horsemen ran past towards his back line. I think that was the big difference here a lot of the time. Speaking of those pesky horsemen, they spotted the expansion base. Magic will not be allowed to replenish this close to the front line. Really good eyes from GiveUA to get on top of this quickly. This could have been condemning otherwise, right? Magic would have re-establish control on the left side island, and then also he would have had a secondary staging point. And remember, we talked about how slow these spearmen are to reinforce. You want a forward base of your Magic. You actually need a forward base. It's taking too long to replenish spearmen on the front line as it is. And that's why this would have been a critical detail if it had gone up. Instead, they're going to burn to a cinders, and the Horseman army is riding forward. I don't know at this point if GiveUA is playing France or Mongols. It's hard to tell. But he's going to spot the caravan. Does he go for the traders? I would totally go for these traders right now, but he's going forward towards the eco instead. More racks being built at Magic's base. And there you go. Some horsemen going to break off. And yeah, this should be where you kind of just camp this marketplace for a little bit, if you can. Because even though it's not much gold, it's the difference, right? We talked about how, like, who's getting gold in this situation right now. And if you're GiveUA, you do not want your opponent getting gold because you can't access those trade points like he can. Bang Ram's made it through. Culverin's targeting him down. Mangonels should be able to get rid of the archers, but, I mean, you've already lost your main platoon. He's bringing in a huge amount of spears right now, though. And you need reinforcements in the base. Horsemen coming out now. Culverins need to target out these battering rams. They're doing a lot of damage, but he's more worried about losing the Culverins themselves. He needs to hold the choke points around his building, but they get through. He's going to realize it too late. Culverins trying to retreat, but they're burning him down. There is a keep here to slowly work its way through the spearmen, but there's enough here that he should get rid of the Culverins. The battering rams uncontested. The horsemen trying to deal with them right now, but their attention is split. There's the new army he needed as he starts to lose more horsemen back on his enemy's side of the base. Or side of the map, rather. Another battering ram goes down. And Sacred Site now being captured here. So it looks like Magic has finally identified that he should have had a monastery sooner and that this gold streak would have been huge. Because I have to highlight how much of a difference it would have made. We're in a 50-minute game. At 20 minutes in, he could have captured 2 Sacred Sites. Do the maths, guys. That's 30 minutes, 100 gold each per minute. That's 6,000 extra gold you'd have. And right now, that's the thing that you lack. It's the type of thing that you punch yourself in the face over. Well, you should be punching yourself in the face over. Magic. Sniping out some of this wood eco. GiveUA can replace it quite easily, and he's got horsemen coming. Meanwhile, back in Magic's base. Still more frustration for him. What is his eco count right now? Magic's down to 85. GiveUA, 82 right now, as they're both sniping out each other's. And new keep going down. This is going to get spotted early, though. So there should be a move forward by GiveUA, and this will not be built quick enough. Remember, there's only 5 villages here trying to build this up. And I like this move as well. Don't snipe it out so he cancels it. If anything, I'd just let him try and build it as I burn it down. Because then he definitely wastes the resources, right? That being said, he's going to get the villagers. Spinman target as well. Keep soon to fall. And no army on the right side. Just look how scarce Magic's army is now. Look how different the game is at this stage. Because now look what Magic is doing on his primary island, right? Like, he started to build up the farms again. He's building even more farms. He's basically mirroring what GiveUA has been doing for most of the game. The problem is he's mirroring it at a point where GiveUA has got a big enough force and he's gone for a mobile force that once he breaks through your static defenses on the neutral islands, he will be immediately into your base and do so very quickly. A new battering ram army going up very slowly from Magic. This phantom battering ram will be useful one day, guys. I swear it. And look at the villages. I'm just reminded of that classic line from Stronghold. Wood needed. Well, I can assure you there will be enough wood, my lord. As you can see, they're both under the 1,000 mark. Not comfortable with that right now. Bagler. Seems like it'd be pretty impactful in this fight, but there's so many horsemen, it really won't. The tough cookie right now for Magic is if he pulls away from these bridges, look what will happen. GiveUA is going to try and wrap around him. Even if you lose your horsemen, you're fine with this. You just want to get through into the choke point. And that's why Magic, this small group of spearmen are going to try and hold the choke point right now. Moving in. And the villagers! He's trying to block him from getting the economy right now. It's just all about bodying numbers here. So the spearmen can reinforce. GiveUA trying to get that sneak in will not be able to do so. But you know what I see? I see an opportunity for GiveUA to get back on the water. You could actually snipe these ships out and then just look to use a transport ship from this short point to get straight into the base with horsemen. I genuinely want to see one of these two players do this. It would be such a big deal. Right now, Magic has the capabilities, but GiveUA, if he takes control of the war again, which, you know, he can buy some resources to do so, absolutely could counter his opponent and do this move and just get complete access to his base and not worry about these choke points. That being said, Hand cannons are here, baby. Boom, boom. Archers as well. They're going to chase them back. And now you're in trouble. Magic consistently, stubbornly through the game, only building spears. And now, as a result, GiveUA is going to start to seriously punish him for it. And look, all those horsemen you killed. Oh, I'm sorry. I seem to have replaced them already. Whoopsie. Remember, this is really easy for him as well because these horsemen, I mean, some of them are costing even less. They take only 18 seconds to produce. And let the bodies hit the floor. The bomb, let the boat hit the ocean floor as they boom him instantly. And in they come. Defensive keep right next to his town center. Something we saw GiveUA do about 30 minutes ago to defend himself. Let's see if it turns the game for Magic as well. As GiveUA trying to target it down. The slow-ranged army battalion are on their way in to try and deal with all of the units attacking his horsemen. So many horses here. So many horses died so that this game could occur, folks. And he's surrendering it. He's giving over the keep. He needs more troops to deal with this. He actually needs siege weapons. Does he even have... No, he's got the Magnos coming. Here we go. So he had to roll them all the way over because he didn't have a siege workshop here. They're almost here, though. And they'll snipe out a lot of these horsemen. Maybe even the hand cannons. He wants to get rid of the hand cannons. That's the bigger deal. And he goes to the main clump. Gets through about half of the ranged units here. One of these Mangonels is not even firing yet, and that's going to force GiveUA back. Remember, these units are pricey. Like 80 gold each. He doesn't want to lose the hand cannons like that. Did not get through the keep. Critical detail there, because remember, stone is hard to get your hands on. It's pricey now. So he keeps the keep alive, and with it, keeps his hopes of winning this game on the life support. Meanwhile, on his base, the sneak in. However, he killed enough forces. Look what's happening. GiveUA's like, okay, thank you for killing my attack force. Now, arise, defense force. This Culverin, which is trying to snipe, is rolling all over the place. Needs to target out the battering rams. And the sneak in by the spears, going for the eco again. Meanwhile, same thing from GiveUA. Of course, he's quicker to do it because of the horsemen. Burning down the buildings, harassing everyone off their farms. What's the eco situation? GiveUA still at 82. 51 for Magic. Magic is slowly losing this game. Death by a million cuts in this one. 1,000 wasn't enough. The battering rams are going to fall. TC will be rebuilt. He did get rid of this keep, but couldn't get the backline keep. Revolta also up now as well. He needs to address all of these split-up spearmen. I love this move from Magic to just split up all of his military in the base into small groups to just keep all the eco back. So he'll eventually clean these all out of his base. In the meantime, Magic, he's going to need to recover because although GiveUA's been forced off his eco, most of his eco is still intact, right? He hasn't been able to snipe that many villagers yet. I say that. He continues to run through them as the people refuse to let go of their farmlands. They're like, no, I rented this land from the local lord. I've got to earn it back. I pay interest every year on the loan. All right, I'm going to work this farm until I die. Meanwhile, Horsemen trying to get rid of the Mangonels. I think they got 2 of them in the end, so not too bad of a situation. And look at the access now. So GiveUA has expanded fully into the left side island. Everything is gone here. Second Sacred Site capped, so now he's getting extra gold treacle. So drawn in that regard. And GiveUA's been saving up this gold, by the way. Remember, the difference between him and Magic is Magic has been heavy committing into like Mangonels, these other things. He hasn't got that much gold, right? GiveUA is saving it up for a quality transition where he can get a pretty strong type of unit that he wants out, right? He reacts with Culverins in time whenever he needs it. You can potentially go into Revolticans. When he uses his gold, he makes sure there's a much more valuable investment out of it, right? Compared to Magic, who through most of this game, because, you know, he's always had it to spend, just like a person who's born into a family of millionaires, they don't know the value of money, right? Well, that's kind of been the same situation for Magic. He's got comfortable with what he's been able to afford, and as a result, now he's just trying to live on a budget, right? It's like that Netflix TV series, Schitt's Creek. Yeah, just in the wood lines. Wood really the only resource alongside those farmlands for food that is left on the map. And I'd say they're about even in terms of woodland. No. Actually, Magic has more woodland he can access right now. That being said, I don't know how safe this expansion is going to be. Actually, I don't even think you care about the right side expansion if you're GiveUA. The thing about these horseman armies is they're moving in so quick and then they're getting spent that any sort of posturing that comes out of Magic, some sort of aggression in your base, gets countered very quickly because, well, you know, you basically rebuild your army. I mean, how many stables are we up to here? 12? Yeah, 12 stables. What's 14? So every time he's just building 12 new horsemen. I say that right now he's nowhere near his pop cap, so he needs to full rebuild the army, which is why things have gone quiet for a little bit here. As both of them have kind of spent practically all their food. When we look at it from Magic's side, he's pretty military weak as well. I give the edge to GiveUA just because of their kind of equal numbers, but you had that mobile force. I say equal numbers. Most of Magic's military right now is siege weapons. He has barely any frontline to support them, and this is bad. This means one Royal Culverin will probably just be fine to defend his base. A few horsemen, in fact, can deal with his battering rams. Meanwhile, 4 TC being built. This outpost is going to be sniped down. And just going to allow GiveUA to rebuild to that critical mass of eco again to support the horseman spam once more. Because remember, the reason he's behind on his food right now is he's had to rebuild all of these farms to get back up to that standard, right? There was a lot of harassment from those small groups of spearmen. Mangonel's moving in. With the battering rams. It's going to be a little bit tough to approach, but the Culverin's there. He's trying to roll it back, but I think he's going to lose it. If he can at least get the battering rams, it's not too bad. He goes for the Mangonels instead. This is a smart play. If you get rid of the Mangonels, your horsemen can approach. That being said, villagers, spearmen, everything to try and help. But the repairs, is it going to be enough? Is it going to keep it up? The Culverin, oh, he's just about living. So the Culverin's going to stay alive. Not going to snipe out the battering rams. In the meantime, the Mangonels get taken out by the horsemen. More Spearmans coming in to try and protect this. But the horsemen, remember, they have a lot of health to get through. 225 to be specific here. Not a quick kill. With that, the Spearmans will back off into the choke point again. Wallalo? Where's the Wall? What? Oh, he saw the Spearman. He didn't want this. He just wanted he actually just wanted the relic here, right? So it's fine with this, okay? Yeah, build your battering rams, assault my expansion. But look at this. He got 3, now about to have 4 relics. So huge advantage on gold, and you can see it. You can just see it increasing over time, right? You can see the difference in the current resources right now. Magic, every time he loses one of these Springalds, one of these Culverins, one of these Bombard Cannons, it's honestly just, it's rubbing salt into the wound. It stings. GiveUA, he loses a Culverin here or there. It's just like, he kicked me in the shin. It hurts a little bit, but I'll get over it, right? I haven't got that sting that's standing there for a while. You're not getting a yelp out of me as you do it. And horsemen in. They spot out the battering rams. Magic trying to use the only resource he has, which is wood. And would you have guessed this game would end up like this with how it was at that 20-minute mark? I don't think so. Magic looked like he had this game. If this game had a win probability, I think GiveUA is at about 72% right now. Possibly higher. It would depend how the win probability algorithm works. Is it based on your previous behavior? Because if it's based on your previous behavior, I put Magic at like a 15% max to win this, just because all it's been is spears and siege weapons. Never anything else. And that's why he continues to suffer. And look at the difference here. Every time in these previous fights, right, the Culverin count stayed at 2 or less. Now he's up to 3 Culverins, and he's sniping everything out because he's trying to siege these walls. Magic is trying to take out these walls with Culverins. He just lost a huge investment again. And now Magic has no siege weapons for long range. Like, these spring walls will get sniped out before they can deal with the Culverins. 100%. Meanwhile, on the north side, always looking at his back, GiveUA once again trying to sneak in a cavalry force. And Magic, this time, 15 spearmen. Now, folks, last time we saw this defense, it was probably about 30 to 40 spearmen and a battleship to protect. Now it's next to nothing. And GiveUA, once again, pop capped. Look across at Magic, still lingering behind. Eco-wise as well, GiveUA up at 121 villages. Understanding that the name of the game now is Drain the Map, okay? Take your giant hoover that is your villager count and just clean that map. Suck it dry. Because once it's all gone and you count the numbers, the difference is going to be that you're still going to have 12 stables constantly producing horsemen, and your opponent is going to have like 4 or 5 racks max able to push out spearmen. And once again, Culverin's up to 4 now. Magic, I'm wondering what's going through his mind. Like, what's the thought here? Because at this stage, you're so deep in the hole. How do you transition? when you get this late in the game, Spearman's something you probably transition back to because of your lack of resources, but he's stuck in it. And these Horsemen are still trading well against the Spearman because although you could argue in a one-on-one engagement, it's actually decent value for Magic. When you're talking about the quantity that keeps getting pushed by GiveUA, it's a losing battle for Magic. It's just there's a million bodies on the way to discovering that loss. God, I want to turn off that pop cap noise. It's just instantly always GiveUA up at pop cap. Now into the Treb. So just looking to cause serious frustration, break through this right side, and once that happens, Magic's game is completely unraveled. He'll have no fourth stage in base. He'll have no sort of direct protection on one side, which is really dangerous in this situation, right? Because you've been investing in Spearman, and you can't keep the quantities up. What that means is then GiveUA can split his forces, come at you with Horsemen from both sides, and you have no great way of defending yourself. Slow siege begins. Horsemen split up. Too many Spearmen here right now. Archers are going to arrive. Remember, these archers trade pretty well against the spears. This small group will probably get rid of a little bit more than its number if it's micro, but GiveUA is not microing them right now. That being said, you can kill these guys now. Yep. So we'll clean up a few of these. Magic, zerging those spear like crazy. He's trying to go for the TC expansion. Understands that he can't let his opponent get all this wood for free. And the stable's going to start being built, but it might be too late. They're going to charge in towards the Villi line. A lot of exposed eco here that GiveUA has. And with that, how many is he going to lose? I mean, you won't be able to get Horsemen out quick enough. The Baron Ram's already here. You need new Horsemen to arrive, and they're on their way. Trickling out a bit slower, and it's not because he's going to the right side. It's just he hasn't built that many at the moment. He could as well. That's the crazy part. GiveUA has so much food and so much wood. It feels like he was delaying it because he wanted to build up these stables first to get them out closer. Understandable now. Now that he's got 5 up, he should be able to just get a bunch of Horsemen out to protect this expansion. Baganel sniped. And it misses its shot on the archers. So Horsemen going to back off for the moment. Even if you get rid of this one TC, it's not the end of the world in this expansion, remember. GiveUA already has a second TC here. Now the Horsemen coming out. As long as they don't trickle in, these Spearmen won't be able to handle them over a long period of time. And new Spearmen trickling in, but Magic's not putting them straight into the fight. Pop capped again on Magic. GiveUA, not hitting that pop cap just yet. And Trebs. Almost done with the keep. They're trying to repair it, but the Trebs are doing too much damage here as we're seeing it slowly being whittled down. Very slowly, actually. I think it's losing, on average, about 100? Nah, it's evening up now. They put extra villagers in. So he actually needs another Treb if he wants to bring this down, or a few Horsemen to go in. But his Horsemen, they're distracted over here. They have to deal with these Spearmen that are just running through your eco, running rampant, in fact. Because he never actually boxed off this entry, right? If he got forward and put down a keep with his full army here, maybe it's different. But that would have been a risky choice for GiveUA. Because if he'd done that, then GiveUA potentially is forfeiting his right side, right? Because he won't be able to get reinforcements in quick enough. And then potentially you lose, you know, your main base. So that's why we didn't see him invest all of his Horsemen there instantly. That's why we saw the treacle effect. And now it's just a full retreat. He's abandoning the expansion. It's kind of done here. Get what Horsemen you can, get your villagers out, fall back behind the walls where you're protected, and then push out the right side where you're slowly working your way through these keeps. And there's actually, in fairness, there's still plenty of wood here to be gained if he does go for that. Problem is he needs to push in for it now. And GiveUA, like, this is the worrying part now. His wood was solid, like all wood is. But now it's rotting. Like, some wood left out in the water for too long, right? Like, it's just, he doesn't actually have what he needs to support Elite Horsemen anymore. And that gets a little bit problematic. Because when you look at the difference, Magic hasn't got huge surpluses of food, but he's still decent on the wood. And GiveUA, a lot of the wood he had, he burned on this. Remember, 150 per stable. That was the big mistake here. I think this was way too late to build into, and it's cost him now. These Horsemen could at least be doing some work on these caravans to stop your opponent getting gold. But right now, you need a new line to find. You actually need to push out, and that's why he's getting through. So Trebs get through one line. He was using the culverins to snipe out some of the villies. So there's barely anyone here to repair these keeps at the moment. There is a wood line nearby, but unless he addresses the culverins directly, he's going to have a problem. And the Horseman pushing the left again. So this time with a new contingent of archers, 21 is a decent number. Even though 67 spearmen, they burst through them so quickly that the Horseman can be treated as a meat shield and you'll actually get favorable trades. He just needs his archers in position. Baiting them in. Here come the archers. And let's go force a retreat. Should be a chase down now. And Magic's going to have to run a long way here. Needs to be careful, because if he chases him to the bridge choke point, GiveUA still has the advantage because of the way you funnel across this bridge. But it looks like GiveUA is hesitant right now. Remember, he doesn't have God Vision. He doesn't have the info we have. He doesn't know if there's a Mangonel back there. He doesn't know if there's even more Spearmen coming. He doesn't know what he's dealing with. Workers going in one by one. Culverins, hello? Hello? Guten Tag. Maybe kill the 2 Spearmen that are killing you. All right, here come the Spearmen. Villagers trying to repair quick enough. Remember, these siege units are also valuable. But he didn't put any sort of melee protection here. The demo ship, it actually works out in his advantage. Because he got forced off the bridge, the Dow will not get the value. Had Magic patiently waited and timed that better, he might have managed to snipe out the entire siege weapon line that GiveUA has. That being said, he'll still get a few of these, as the Horsemen will finally start to try and counter out the spears, but Treb's going to fall. This is the difference, by the way. GiveUA keeps these siege weapons up so long because he regularly repairs them, compared to Magic, who through a lot of this game never bothered to repair his units. And while this is happening, yes, Magic gets a trade up there, but look at the progress for GiveUA. This is a big deal to control this bridge point, because remember, Magic, the only way he was getting gold, really, was from trade. Now this caravan route is going to be cut off. He can, of course, switch up into the south one, but the south one is going to be exposed at this rate, naturally, due to the moves that GiveUA is making. Spearman army trying to back away, but that's choke point controlled. And remember, Roboldican here as well. There's no way that you can actually approach anymore as Magic. Meanwhile, production line continues. And now into the Knights, GiveUA. This is a new record for Knights produced by him in this game. He has never, at this point, 1 hour and 11 minutes in, he has never had more than 5 Knights in the field. I think that before it was 3. And the Dow! Oh my god, it got the Horseman! Alright, cavalry army gone, but GiveUA, although it sets you back, you're kind of comfy with this. Remember, you've got enough wood because you reproduced on the line that you can actually run out a bunch of new horsemen. Meanwhile, with Roboldican, look how many of the Spearmen just died! Oh no! They're gone! Spearman contingent gone. Flanking into the eco done. And now that means that when you actually get this new Spearman army out here, GiveUA is going to have a new force to contend with. In fact, he might just push right now. I think you just push right and you get rid of Magic's eco expansion. We'll see if he opts to do that. And remember, he's running these Spearmen over here, but there's still 2 Roboldicans. Elite Horseman push now. Trip Culverins. Double Treb. And he runs straight past the Spearman again. Right now, Magic are just thumping his goddamn table going, why? Why are they so fast? A question that will haunt him. The repairs are good, though. Nice move there by Magic to keep the Culverins alive. He's still going to lose that one, and the Horseman will move past. A reasonable trade for GiveUA. Remember, that gold is so much more valuable at this stage. And look how much gold he has. 6,000 now for GiveUA. Are we going to see a full Knight switch up? I don't know. So here's my thought, right? Knights are good, right? In this situation, they're like, oh, they're tasty. Give them to me. But look at the production difference. 22 compared to the 14. He's spamming out Horsemen so quickly in comparison, right? And that's been the Zerg factor that's been given it to him. Meanwhile, these Trebs are drunk. Trebs, hello? Trebs, hello? Oh, no. Oh, no, no, no. Oh, no. And now he's the one with the demo ship. Bye, Spearman. Ship go boom. He got him. Meanwhile, expansion once again gets protected by the Roboldicans. Just the Roboldicans, really. So they'll start to build in the Springles now to deal with those Roboldicans, but so many Spearmen lost over here. Look at this sneak in, though. Battering Ram army being built. He wants to get through these stone walls, but look at the problem he has. If it's only battering rams you're making, there's a demo ship guarding the bridge from GiveUA. So smart of a move from him. Speaking of demo ships, we salute you, but you're sinking, bud. Bye. And he'll back up. Hasn't even bothered to repair the keep. What's the eco count? 95 for GiveUA, Magic, 92. So he did rebuild his entirely. And it makes sense, right? He hasn't been harassed for a long time. In fairness, though, every attempt he's been making to harass GiveUA has been countered. And I think you're so happy with this if you're GiveUA. Because your expansions worked, right? You didn't get pushed out. You got this island. You got pretty much all the wood that was there. Just straggler trees, but whatevs. What you really need to do now is you need to find a way into your opponent's island. You need to force out his eco, get him off there, make sure he can't keep producing. In fairness to Magic, though, he has... Well, he's definitely saved up his wood for Christmas. Let's put it that way. 6,500 in surplus. Once again, these archers just a counter. And remember, you can't go man-at-arms at this stage. We talked about it, right? You don't have the gold surplus to support it. You could have went archers yourself, and I'm kind of disappointed that he didn't. I do think that was one of the big plays that the Magic missed. Honestly, it just... you know what it is, right? Magic, I think he's got like some sort of sticky note on his mana, and where you can see archery range and stable, the sticky note covers it. And that's why we've never seen stone walls, archery range, or stable from Magic. And now, look at this. Some quality knights in with the horseman. Riding in. Oh my god, he catches the retreating spearman. Decent chunk lost. Fighting back way too late. Meanwhile, Treb's trying to push out slowly. Needs to be careful again of the demo ship, and he's going to get away. Demo ship can't reach, remember. Can't get past the bridge, and he even detonates it. What a waste. Then again, the Culverins would have blown it up anyway. Pressure continues. Demo ship in the base. Ooh, the Villy. Damn it. Melissa was just here to get the wood. Instead, she got the explosion. Not the best use of a demo ship, mind you. Getting one villager and a tiny bit of damage to a bagler wasn't really what he was looking for. And these archers, again, now moving in. Just the difference. A few hand cannoneers in there as well. By the way, can we talk about the fact no one is... Like, I don't think anyone can pick up this relic. This relic isn't here. It's a magical illusion, guys. It doesn't exist, all right? Hidden for all eternity. It turns out the bridge was the relic all along. Because depending on how you hold it, and depending on how you use it against your opponent, someone's paying out a lot of gold. Archers. Dealing with spears. Spears don't even want to wrap on him. Doesn't even feel like a good trade. Maganel can't get close enough either. He goes straight for the horseman. They're getting rid of the military infrastructure, but now he's baited him in. These archers will trade reasonably well. And he has to back out, and he knows it. The Maganel trying to get range, but look at the way he skirts it every time. He baits himself in, though. GiveUA on the attack click gets caught out. So Maganel going to snipe him down. He can't snipe out the Maganel itself. Horseman could charge in potentially, and they're going to do exactly that. The Roboticans are here as well, so the Spearman cannot clump. And he charges under the Keep's influence to get rid of the Maganel. Trying to get out. Has to hold his own instead. Gets wrapped around on by the spears. Now with that, Roboticans, did they get in? They're getting a few shots, but not good value found in the end for them. You will lose your army again, but once again, keeping Magic in his base pushed back completely. And that creates more space so that you can go woodworking on this island. As it's getting stripped bare. Barely anything left here. And that buys time. Look at the expansion on the side. The boom ship out, though. The Cobra is trying to move away. Oh, the traps. He gets them. He cannot get the Culverins, though. The Culverins were just out of range on the secondary blast, so they just about survive. That being said, another keep falls. Only one left here for Magic. And Magic, remember, no stone to work with. Knights and the Horseman will back up in time. Dow gets sniped out. Has he got more explosive Dows coming? Yes, he has. This one dock just keeps mass producing them one by one. The problem he has right now is he's pop capped. He can't get a new Dow out. And GiveUA doesn't know it, but this will be the moment to push over. Did he ever get the reset? Yeah, so I think he's got the movement speed increase. That's the big deal here. Just getting across these quicker. Interesting that he never went for Typh Barnes, by the way. I kind of understand why from his perspective, right? At no stage in the game did he have access to additional gold placements, right? So it felt like a waste to do. Because gold was his limiting factor for most of this game. Culverin's target. Spearmen are only going to get one of them. The Horsemen get in their way. And that Spearman army is going to fall. Not much left either. Look at this Magic. Yeah, he sent his Spearmen west. And that's a problem because the Knights and the Horsemen, there are so many stables here again that he's going to have trouble dealing with this. Meanwhile, back on the bridge, Culverins get protected. Robotica has been built, so you can push across this quickly. New Dow has arrived. And the Spearmen try to regroup, but they're just being sniped out as they trickle in one by one. Not a good situation for Magic. He'll finally realize it and try to regroup his spears. But I think this has bought enough time that GiveUA can kind of match the production if he wants to. Instead, he chooses to just actually move these troops deeper to try and force Magic to retreat. And he's going to have to. Look at him. He's going to try and build new ones, but he has to run back to defend this in the meantime as that army isn't present or there. And I believe he's still pop-capped right now. Yeah, Magic's close to pop-cap, so these horsemen could cause some trouble in his eco lines. Meanwhile, back in the base, Revolcan trying to back up. Knights trying to get in the way. Sees the explosive Dow, though. Needs to be careful. Remember, these veteran Royal Knights are an expensive investment. 140 food, 140 gold each. And wood is spent by GiveUA as he rebuilds the Horseman Apocalypse, and they are on the move. Choo-choo coming through at 1,000,000 miles an hour as the Horsemen and Knights ride out. Culverin's just continuing to snipe out these spearmen, baiting them into the outpost range. This is impossible for Magic to get through now. Magic's only choice is to go left. That's why he's been investing heavy armies there. At the same time, he can't afford to forfeit the right side. If he ever does, GiveUA will flood here as well. And we talked about the mobility of these Horseman armies. Not only the exposed economy here, but how quickly he'd move into your primary base is a problem for Magic. The moment he lost control of this left side choke point is where this game just completely felt lost for Magic. And I think right now it's almost impossible for Magic to do anything. That's why he's building this full base. This is kind of his last move. He needs to actually get enough racks up here, snuck in, a new Spearman army on the front line to hold the choke point, and then he needs to go for a Ura rush. Because right now, if this game continues to just slog out, I feel like I give advantage to GiveUA. He has superior siege weapons, he has superior gold treacle, and unless you get 1,000,001 caravans, that is not going to change anytime soon. Spears embracing formation, trying to hold their own. Boom ship coming in. He needs to get off the bridge. He's trying to get out of here quick. The Dow! No, he detonated prematurely. He didn't get it close enough. He didn't think he had time. GiveUA sweats it, but lives. The whole army could have been burnt there. They could have found a way through, but now Magic. He's on the retreat. No new explosive Dow here. He's in a world of trouble. And we'll see it as he starts to get sniped down. There is really not much to stop GiveUA from moving in here. Mangonel's got him a little bit worried right now. He doesn't have a Culverin anymore. And that's the only reason he doesn't push through onto the expansion base of Magic. Meanwhile, Rams built on the left side. Magic now working through the stables expansion by GiveUA onto this island. So no value there, but GiveUA, I think he's fully reinvested on the right side here, looking for value there. He realizes that's the island probably to contest over. He's burnt most of what's available on the left side island. Right side island, there's still a tree line that hasn't been touched, which I think he possibly has vision on still. And charging by the Spearman. Wait, did he? Where the Horseman ran away. The Horseman ran away, so he's going straight into the Revolcan. A lot of Spearman being lost for this. Culverin snipe out the Mangonel. And even if you get the siege weapons, you just gave the keys to the island. GiveUA can charge across if he wants to. He has to realize this is undefended, right? The only problem he has now is he needs to get very close to snipe out the Dow. We'll see if he actually does this. And he goes to the transport ship. Okay, yep. This is what we were asking for. We asked for this like 10, 20 minutes ago, and we're finally getting it. GiveUA. Moving in now. Bagler trying to snipe him out. Horsemen are going to land, though. No way to stop that. First group get pushed out, and he can repair this quick enough, remember. So, Bagler retargets onto the Horseman line. Meanwhile, push through by the ranged units across towards the Treb's location. And look at this, the Spear is still trickling in. And the explosive Dow! It's a complete waste. It doesn't get anything done here. And new Horseman coming in. And he has exposed Magic's eco. He's distracted him on two fronts as the Horsemen flood in. They've reached the primary island of Magic. The Bagler's going to be sunk. He'll move them away from the bank so the explosive Dow can't do anything. And he'll regroup, get more of these Horsemen and bring them across again. The value of the transport ship. Transport ship MVP for sure here. And this move in. It's too little too late from Magic, trying to breach the west side walls. There's still enough Horsemen here to repel this Spearman force, by the way. But look at his eco lines. His primary base exposed. Oh, no. And his pop cap's got to be locked, right? He's got room for a bit. But there is a decent amount of Knights and a decent amount of Horsemen here. I don't think you can have enough Spears right now. You need to lose more pop cap elsewhere, if anything. And you're going to lose it. This ranged army, this elite ranged army of archers and hand cannoneers are burning through all the reinforcements. He doesn't even care about the eco expansion. Look at this attempt to switch stables now. This is way too late from Magic. He's trying to go to Horsemen, but far too little, far too late now. As you've lost your expansion island, Your aggression on the left side is coming in, but I think it's too little, and it's way too late. And I'm pretty sure a few Knights to just repel this fully. But I think from GiveUA's perspective, he maybe just tries to go for the throat here. So Magic in full-on guard mode. GiveUA, oh, okay, this would be big. Snipe out the Monastery, stop the gold treacle. Stop the Knights coming out. You need to rebuild right now. Instead, GiveUA? What? Okay, he's expanding onto the wood line, but he's not. There we go. There's the Horseman. We're waiting for it. The Horsemen are coming out now. So he's going to lose some of his base, but once again, he's going to recover from this. GiveUA, in the meantime, he has the rule of Magic's Island. Yes, these spearmen can chase you, and they can chase you a long time. But chasing's all they do. And look at this. The hand cannoniers have had enough time to arrive, so Magic's going to have to back off. The explosive down wasn't out in time. The ranged army gets across. They're trying to bait him in. Not good enough. Once again, he's misanticipating these ranges. Magic seems to think he's getting more boom radius than he is, and he's not doing enough damage to the horses. And now, ranged battalion ahoy. They'll work their way through these spears fairly quickly. And this is the main army of Magic. His aggression force in the enemy base has more or less been repelled. Only a few spears and 1 or 2 battering rams left. Meanwhile, his eco lines, look at this. Well, GiveUA didn't bring an escort for these, so he kind of just sacrificed 25 villagers slow. Then again, if they turn around and fight, I'm pretty sure they kill him here. But the Mangonel will kill them quicker. Boom. Ooh, that's painful. That being said, hello. Hello. Is he going to get the Mangonel? He's going to get the Mangonel snipe. All right, this is worth it. Even if you lose all the villagers now, this is worth it for the double Mangonel snipe. Night Sim will clean up these stragglers from Magic. Meanwhile, in Magic's base, now his eco line has been re-exposed due to the ranged units that he didn't manage to get through. And once again, into the depths of the demon he goes. GiveUA just trying to slay the Abbasid dynasty here. But what have you got left now? Let's actually do let's do an eco check. GiveUA got slowed a lot, right? Because a lot of his villages got pulled away. Once again, he's have to rebuild all these farmlands. But the difference is that now wood advantage is going to be with him, right? Magic is going to get wholly pushed off this island. There's going to be nothing left for him. And that means that you are going to run out of resources quicker than GiveUA, who, remember, also has the relic advantage. Madraza to be burnt. Looks for the back line, knowing there's farmlands here. So start to just snipe these down. Remember, these are pricey. Wood's the limiting factor in this matchup now, this far into the game. And these cost 75 wood each. This is costly to lose like this. He's still at least got his caravan going, so he's getting some gold trickling in. Meanwhile, GiveUA still hasn't rebanked these relics yet. Yeah, he needs to build a monk to get them all back in. But he's got bigger things to focus on. He's got the playing for the win to focus on right now. As he will force most of Magic's expansion on islands to fall. Still hasn't spotted this out on the backside. Very sneaky from Magic. 43 workers trying to get rid of all this wood as quickly as possible. But back in the primary base, I mean, Magic, his food is gonna dry up. He's already capped. Look at this. Barely 100 to his name at a time. Compare that to GiveUA with 13,000 surplus. Nice range snipe attempt coming out from the Mangonels, but there should just be a route towards the Mangonel. And it looks like the Night Army, no, they couldn't get to it. So it'll be cleaned up. That being said, damage done heavily to the eco. And armies should be being rebuilt in the meantime. New TC going down on the right side island from GiveUA. New armies should be being built as well. He's waypointed them. Where's his army? Is GiveUA? Yeah, GiveUA's not really built a new army. Okay, he's got a few up here, but that's literally it. Outside of what's remaining of the assaulting force, right? But he should just span these out again. I'm pretty sure. Yep, there it is. There's the bars. I was waiting for the bars to fill. And he is going to get drunk on power. Elite Horseman out in mass again. When you look at this matchup, when we talk about this matchup, when we think back to this matchup, it basically has just been Elite Horseman versus Spears. It's been spear on spear action, but someone has a giant horseman lugging them around. And I really think that the difference maker here was the way that GiveUA played around the choke points. I think Magic lost way too many units in way too silly of a fashion, and that's why we're in this situation now where land and sea really are controlled by GiveUA. And with a new hand cannoneer army coming in, these spears are once again answered. And where's Magic's answer? There was a point in this game where he was considering going into Horseman himself, right? But he can't do that. That world is a myth. It doesn't exist anymore because his food is capped constantly. Really well played by GiveUA to stop that transition. And now just a few knights charging in. He sees the treacle, moves past them. Interesting build on the Gallius. Not sure why he wanted to go for that, actually, in this situation, but... This gives him control of the area. Still a Doc sitting here. He needs to worry about the Mangonels. Mangonels are genuinely the only thing threatening him. But unless you can hold choke points, which we've seen Magic no longer can, you don't really care about the Mangonels. You just run around and you get them. And I don't think there's really anything left for Magic to do. Yeah, a few misplays. I think if he gets the explosive dows on these choke points, he's a bit better off. But overall, it really just comes down to the eco game. GiveUA hunkered in, and he made everything count for a lot more. And then when he actually had surplus, he pushed it to the limit, right? Meanwhile, Magic, yeah, I'm not. Well, food isn't infinite, right? But there is a large sum of food to be found on the map. Food and wood. There's lots more of that than gold. I feel like Magic just didn't utilize gold very well in this game. GiveUA treated it like it was his birthday present, right? It's like, oh, I only get this once a year. And then every time he used it, he made sure it was like to react and counter something his opponent was doing. And I know we often talk about proactivity over reactivity, but when you turtle the way that GiveUA does, that reactivity is critical. And the way he utilized his advantages in defending to get proactive with a mobile horseman army, just really impressive. Love the way he displayed how useful horsemen can be in these games. And honestly, when you get this late into a game, expect to see more horsemen spamming. And I think when you're talking horsemen versus spears, I am only giving the edge of spears if it's super choke point related. That being said, play the game, definitely getting that transport ship. GiveUA understanding that if you utilize the water, choke points don't matter anymore, and mobility is key, mobility is king, and so is GiveUA here on Confluence.